What makes this situation even more volatile is that the Browns are no longer dealing with whispers or internal grumbling. This has fully crossed into public spectacle territory, where every move, every snap, and every press conference is being dissected like evidence in a courtroom. The organization has lost control of the narrative, and that's the most dangerous place any franchise can be. Once the story shifts from football decisions to trust issues and leadership credibility, it becomes almost impossible to contain. And right now, Cleveland is bleeding credibility. The board understands that perception matters just as much as results, and the perception is brutal. A franchise quarterback was mishandled, the locker room noticed, the fans noticed, and now the entire league is watching to see whether ownership has the backbone to correct course. What's especially alarming for the current staff is how quickly the emotional center of the team has shifted. This isn't a case where a rookie is quietly waiting his turn. Shedeur has become the gravitational force inside the building. His presence, his confidence, his preparation habits, and his willingness to speak honestly without throwing teammates under the bus has flipped the internal hierarchy. Veterans respect that. Young players gravitate toward it. When a rookie becomes the emotional stabilizer instead of the coaching staff, that's when alarms go off upstairs. Ownership didn't plan for that shift, but they can't ignore it either. They see a player who commands the room naturally, while the staff appears reactive and defensive. The most damning part of all of this is how predictable the fallout has become. League executives aren't shocked by the board's reaction because they've seen this movie before. A talented young quarterback enters a rigid system. Development stalls. Internal politics override football logic. Public criticism grows. Eventually, ownership has to decide whether to protect the staff or protect the asset. And quarterbacks like Shedeur are assets you do not gamble with. Not in today's NFL. Not when fans are emotionally invested and financially committed. Not when the rookie is already driving ratings, attention, and relevance. Behind the scenes, the tone of internal conversations has reportedly shifted from evaluation to urgency. This is no longer about figuring things out week by week. It's about preventing irreversible damage. Every wasted rep, every misaligned game plan, every confusing quarterback rotation compounds the problem. The board doesn't want to wake up 6 months from now, realizing they burned a year of development because they hesitated. That's how franchises lose stars before they ever reach their ceiling. And Cleveland knows all too well what it feels like to constantly reset the quarterback clock. Another layer making this situation combustible is the silence from the coaching staff. Silence, in moments like this, reads as guilt. Fans don't want vague statements about competition or process anymore. They want accountability. They want clarity. And when they don't get it, they assume the worst. That vacuum of explanation is what allowed the sabotage narrative to gain oxygen. Once that narrative took hold, it became impossible to walk back, especially after practice footage contradicted on-field results so clearly. You can't tell people a player isn't ready when video evidence shows the opposite. That disconnect shattered trust instantly. Ownership sees the damage extending beyond this season. Free agents are watching. Coaches around the league are watching. Quarterbacks coming out of college are watching. Cleveland's reputation is on the line. If the Browns become known as a place where talent is constrained instead of cultivated, that stigma sticks. The board understands that modern NFL success is built on alignment. Front office, coaching staff, quarterback, and locker room all pulling in the same direction. Right now, that alignment doesn't exist. And when alignment breaks, leadership has to change. The internal divide within the board itself only adds to the urgency. Disagreement at the ownership level doesn't slow action, it accelerates it. Because once multiple factions agree that something is broken, the debate shifts from if to when. Waiting becomes riskier than acting. And every week that Shedeur continues to show flashes of brilliance only strengthens the argument that the problem isn't the player. It's the infrastructure around him. That realization is what turns a theoretical coaching search into a very real one. There's also a financial reality at play that can't be ignored. A young quarterback on a rookie deal is the most valuable advantage in professional football. It allows teams to load the roster, take calculated risks, and build sustained success. Mishandling that window is one of the biggest sins a front office can commit. The board knows this. They know the clock is already ticking. And wasting even 1 year due to ego clashes or outdated philosophy would be organizational malpractice. What's happening now feels less like a collapse and more like a forced evolution. Painful, chaotic, uncomfortable, but necessary. The Browns are being pushed into a decision they've avoided for decades. Commit fully to a quarterback and build unapologetically around him. No half measures. No mixed messaging. No internal power struggles. Just clarity. And clarity almost always requires change at the top. As this continues to unfold, the league will keep watching, waiting to see whether Cleveland finally breaks its cycle or repeats it yet again. The next few weeks could define the franchise for years. This isn't just about wins and losses anymore. It's about identity, direction, trust, and whether the Browns are finally ready to stop getting in their own way. Now the question turns to you. Do you think the Browns waited too long to recognize the damage being done, or are they finally stepping in at the right moment? Should ownership make a clean break immediately, or let the season play out before pulling the trigger? And most importantly, do you believe Shedeur is the quarterback Cleveland has been searching for all these years? Drop your thoughts below. Make sure you're subscribed for the next chapter of this unfolding saga, and hit that like button if you want to see how this story ends.